Hey guys, welcome back to Watching Sunday Season 2. We've been taking a huge break.
A big break.
Just to talk things over, try to see where this channel can go from here. We decided it's going to be somewhat of a weekly rundown of all of the news that is important to us, and we're going to pepper in some segments here and there that we can squeeze in some of the stuff that we enjoyed more recently.
Yeah, I think basically when we started this channel, it was really, our passion. We want to share what we're watching with people in the community. I got caught up into the YouTube algorithm and all this growing community and channel and all that bull. Ultimately, we took a big break and it did us really well, did me well. We kind of thought things through, and ultimately, it's our passion. We want to share what we're watching. We want to share it with you. And that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, so if you're new to this channel or haven't seen us, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can get notified when we release new videos, obviously, often on Sundays. So without further ado, we're going to get to our first story, Daredevil Season 3.
Yes.
Did you finish this season?
I did finish the season.
I thought it was brilliant.
You thought it was brilliant?
Yes. I absolutely enjoyed Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk. He's like the pinnacle of a kingpin.
I agree.
He's a great kingpin, and I liked the struggle that Charlie Cox gave to Daredevil in his season of basically conflict and self-reflection of what he means to Hell's Kitchen.
I agree with everything that you're saying, but if you're like me, I thought this was the worst season out of all of them. I gotta be honest, it was still a good season, but I would put it last because I loved the first season. It built up with Elektra, with the hand, amazing action. It was so epic, and then this one just kind of brought it down. It was a little depressing. I was waiting for it to pick up.
It was more intimate.
It was more intimate. So
and I liked the personal nature. I like the personal nature between Kingpin and Daredevil, and it kind of makes me want to see a Kingpin versus Spider-Man.
Yeah, but the way I thought about it, it was just like episode after episode of self-reflection. It just got tiring for me.
In other Netflix news, we have the cancellation of Iron Fist.
Yes.
And Luke Cage, but you can't celebrate Luke Cage because that was a great series. I thought it was very grounded and gritty, and it brought to the forefront a very esoteric superhero.
I think I am more happy that Iron Fist got canceled. That show was awful from the beginning. I know it warmed up to you.
No. I didn't warm up to it. The first season was still garbage, but the second season actually redeemed a few qualities about it, particularly the fact that they didn't focus too much on Danny Rand, and they gave a lot to Colleen Wing.
Yeah.
And
who actually knows martial arts.
Yeah, and it redeemed some things about the show, but in the end it got canceled. But the show writer said that this wasn't the end of Iron Fist, and so a lot of people are assuming that this is the start of the transfer to the Disney streaming service, and how Iron Fist and Luke Cage may live on in there as heroes for hire, for example. And it makes sense, because the Marvel is starting to start production on the Loki TV show and the Scarlet Witch TV show for the Disney streaming service, and I think it's it's in response to the DC universe and their Titans and their new TV shows that are going there.
Right. I'm gonna be very critical of all these moves that Disney is making. I love it that there's gonna be all this content, but sometimes too much is too much. You know what I mean? So I don't know what you think about that, but
I think it's a good compromise.
Sir Loras to me as the Iron Fist will never be the Iron Fist. At least Michael Cox, what's his name?
Charlie Cox?
At least Charlie Cox can pull it off in terms of the martial arts, because you don't know it's him. It's probably his body double.
I'll always put this forward. Daniel Wu from Into the Badlands should have been the Iron Fist. He has a martial arts background. He sells the martial arts, and he even trains the other actors Into the Badlands. I think the content in general for the Disney streaming service makes sense. There's a lot of content to go around. There's a lot of characters to flesh out, and a lot of people want solo movies.
It just has to be quality. Quality.
They want
content.
Black Widow. They want Loki. They want all these solo movies that for the people that are in Avengers. So let's just give them TV shows on the streaming service. Speaking of the MCU, we have some new details arriving from the Avengers Infinity War visual dictionary that retcons Scarlet Witch as potentially a mutant.
I like that. I like that idea.
Preparing the audience for potential introduction to the mutant race.
Well, it makes sense. They couldn't really say mutant.
Yeah, until the deal goes through. Right. And so the visual dictionary says that instead of her getting her powers or deriving her powers from the Mind Stone,
the X gene,
she has something in her that the Mind Stone awakened. And yeah, that was the X gene. And so there's that news. Also, Pepper Potts revealed on her Instagram a preview of the rescue armor in Avengers 4, if we could pull that up on the screen. It looks interesting. I mean, this is obviously from the comics where after the snap happens, they need everybody they can get, right? And so Pepper Potts has this rescue armor. It's obviously not like a large arsenal that Iron Man has, but it's probably to enable her to kind of get in there and be useful.
Be part of the movie again. I'm excited. I just want to see Avengers 4. There's just so much secrecy around it, and especially this surfacing up, I'm sure they did it on purpose. Just like the Russo brothers tried to get everyone to guess what the title of the next Avengers is going to be. I don't think that was ever revealed, so they're just doing this in a marketing way. They're building it up so
they're releasing a lot of like Instagram photos that are just like, look harder, you might find a clue.
I think they do that more and more now, right? So I'm just excited for that movie to come out, and it's gonna be epic. And X-Men's gonna be in there.
No, they're not. In other news, we have some live action adaptations coming our way via Kohei Horikoshi's My Hero Academia. Have you seen any of it?
No. Sorry.
For those of you who are new, or for those of you who have watched the series, it's about a kid who grows up in a world where everyone around him has powers. And they're called quirks. And eventually he comes to find out that he actually doesn't have powers. But...
Ooh, that's interesting.
But what happens is he wants to attend this superhero high school, kind of like Sky High, like back in the day from Disney. And the number one superhero, the most powerful superhero, comes down on him one day and admires his passion to rescue people and help people, regardless of whether he had powers. Turns out this superhero has generational power that passes down through generations. So it's not like you're born with it. And he gives it to this kid, and now he has to learn how to use the most powerful power in this world. And it's an interesting anime. I'm interested to see how they go with it. It's being produced by Legendary Pictures.
What is it called again?
My Hero Academia.
Oh.
Or Boku no Hero Academia.
Really? I mean, I've heard about it, but it sounded like a teen drama anime that I probably wouldn't find interesting if I tried to give it a chance.
It's no, it's not a teen drama at all. It's very much action filled.
I should check it out. The title alone is misleading for me.
The other live action news we have to share is, of course, Paul W.S. Anderson producing and directing Monster Hunter World, Capcom's highly successful video game.
Guess who's leading? Guess who's the leading role?
I don't know. Who?
It's gotta be Mila Jovovich.
Jojo?
Jovovich?
Mila Jovovich. Yeah.
I don't care. She's beautiful, and I will watch any Mila Jovovich movie, whatever it is. Resident Evil Part 10, I'll watch that.
But the story is that they released some new set photos from the set of Monster Hunter World, and we see a guy in military gear, and it's a huge departure from the actual, storyline from Monster Hunter World, but Mila Jovovich, in response to the fan backlash, released another Instagram photo of her wearing the traditional plated armor with a slinger on her arm, which is an iconic tool from the Monster Hunter World game. So I'm thinking, okay, so this is just like a plot thing where a regular average military guy from our world gets sucked into the Monster Hunter world, and he meets the Monster Hunter, who is Mila Jovovich, and then they have to hunt and destroy the monsters that are threatening the world.
Well, let's hope that it turns out.
I'm hoping.
Well.
I'm hoping that it turns out well. I mean, when I saw the slinger, I was like, okay, points for that. And so, hopefully, it's in the right hands. I enjoyed some of the Resident Evil movies, not all of them.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we can only hope. So,
W.S. Anderson. All right, let's do this. All right, folks. In last seasons, we only came up with at least 2 episodes of Hidden Gems, but we're gonna squeeze it in.
I like those episodes. Those episodes.
So, my hidden gem is kind of twofold. One is a warning. I thought that Haunted was gonna be an awesome show that's on Netflix. I love horror. I love horror, and it is October, and it is time to watch a bunch of horror shows, and binge watch.
So, shall we go to the meter and see how it turned out?
Okay, let's do it.
Boo! First things first. Where's your shitter? I've got a turtle head poking out.
This was unexpectedly awful. I thought it was going to be awesome. I watched the first episode and it was great. I was really intrigued.
I watched the first episode
It was
too.
like, in quotes, based on true stories. And then I saw this. A little bit of digging on the internet, a little bit of Reddit conversations, and then a few facts pop up, and it's not as cool as I thought it'd be. Just a bunch of lowly filmmakers in the underworld showing up in this show, and it just totally made it like less than what it made me feel.
So
and,
was it not like true stories?
It cheapened the whole experience for me, and I would not recommend it for you if you think the based on a true stories thing does anything for you.
It did in the first episode.
In the
right?
first episode, it was great, but like after that, I just couldn't get it out of my head. That's a no for me. Boo! But if you're looking for a really good one to binge watch, you should watch The Haunting on Hill House. Now that is a really, really good binge-worthy horror
I am looking
show.
for one. I'm currently watching The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. It's actually pretty good. But
And we should talk about it in the next episode.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
As
Go
soon
check
as I
that
finish
out.
it.
Sweet.
Happy Halloween for those of you who are watching this on Halloween. So the next segment we'd like to introduce in this first episode of the season 2 of Watching Sundays is my anime corner. Elements Anime Corner. So whenever I have an anime or I stumble upon an anime that I think is super interesting and super well worth your binge time, I'm going to bring it to you on Watching Sundays. This week, I'm going to recommend Overlord.
You've been trying to convince me to
I've
watch
been
that for a
trying
while.
to get this
and
guy
I think
on
I
it.
am going to, just based on the names you were giving me the last time.
Yeah, I sent him some videos about some of the names in this anime, and this guy's a huge fan of Japanese people saying some very ridiculous German-sounding names. But the premise of this is actually the MMORPG Overlord, or Yggdrasil, is about to shut down. It's been in operation for at least 12 years. It's time to shut down the servers. All the players decide to pursue their real lives and put down the controller, or not the controller, it's a VR game, but they put down their VR headset and they go on with their lives. One person stays behind to watch the clocks run down until the servers finally shut down. When the clocks go to 0, nothing happens. He's in a new world.
That's interesting.
All of the NPCs that him and his buddies, the other players created, all have personalities. They're all coming to life, and he's somewhat in this new world with them, with his guild, without the other players, obviously. At the end of the day, he is a player that stayed behind for the shutdown. The shutdown didn't happen. He's in a new world, and he has to traverse the new land politically and powerfully, taking on new foes and spreading his name and fame with all of the power that he's been given left over from the old game. It's a very interesting anime. There's a lot of personality, there's a lot of fan service, and there's a lot of action. There's a lot of action because he's a very powerful player from the old game, and he faces up against people from the new world that are also as powerful or not as powerful, but the display in action in this anime is terrific. They mix they mix. And I know you're a big fan of this. They mix cell shading and 3D
I like cell shading. I'm a fan of that.
with 2D. So the 2D anime is like, you know, the more lull parts, the talking, the walking, and when it gets action, they go 3D so that they can really bring out the emotion.
Now, is it as good as the cell shading that you see from Polygon Pictures?
Yes.
I will check
It
it out
is.
then.
It is. It's a great anime. Go check it out. Overlord.
Alrighty.
It's on Verve, Crunchyroll, Funimation now. Check it out. It's great.
It's on Hulu.
Yes, it is. It's on Hulu. All right, guys. That's it for this episode of Watching Sundays. We're going to leave you with this question of the week. Leave your answers down in the comment section below. With the new Godzilla vs. Kong movie coming out, who do you guys think would win that battle?
I would always go for Godzilla.
Godzilla always.
Let me know what you think.
You know, a lot of people, a lot of fanboys will make a case for Kong, but Godzilla is just so large.
It's just so powerful. You know, you can't beat that guy. All right, guys. Until next week, let us know what you're watching.